Good morning, Venerable Mahasangha, distinguished guests, colleagues and friends. We are now gathered for the plenary sessions of the 5th International Conference on the Intangible Cultural Heritage, ICICH 2025. It's my great pleasure to warmly welcome all of you to these important sessions. Our first plenary address will be delivered by Professor Pranith Abesundar on the humans, animals and spirit, reimaginings and anthropomorphisms and zoomorphisms in a changing world. Professor Abesundar is one of the Sri Lankan most distinguished and literary and cultural scholars. An award-winning author whose work spanned literature, folklore, anthropology, sociology, and the arts. He is the recipient of the several prestigious honors and including the Peace Scholarship and creativity have made an immense and contributed to both academia and the cultural landscape of Sri Lanka. Without further delay, let us now invite Professor Abesundar to deliver his plenary address. Professor, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Veena Gandhi, Deputy Director, Research, SARS Cultural Center, distinguished guests, invitees, friends. My presentation, Humans, Animals and Spirits, Reimagining Anthropomorphism and Zoomorphism in a Changing World. Manussayo, Sattu, Atma, imagining කියන්නේ පරිකල්පනය නැවත අවදි කිරීම. There are two words, anthropomorphism and zoomorphism in a changing world. Professor Mudyanse in his speech emphasized the benefit, usefulness, inspiration of mythology, folklore, intangible cultural heritage, literature, fine arts, etc. Except mythology, we could not imagine or find out or create literature, drama, poetry, films, anything. Who said? Bronislaw Malinowski pointed out this statement. මිනිස්සු කියන්නේ සත්තු జాතියක්. Man too is an animal. අපි ඔක්කොම සත්තු, බයිපෙඩ්, කකුල් දෙකෙන් යන අය. Yet what kind of animal is he? Unlike the other species, the human being is uniquely capable of developing socially, politically, intellectually, spiritually. Does humanity possess distinctive capacities across all spheres of culture, civilization, society, community, family, groups, religion, economy, education, politics and law? To what extent does the human condition diverge from that of other primates, and in what respects might it be remain similar? Furthermore, how do literary, aesthetic and fine arts eliminate the complex relationship between humans and animals? Finally, how do these dynamics intersect with the broader art of living, encompassing the environment, climate and the conditions of existence itself? මනුෂ්‍යත්වාරෝපණය මානවත්වාරෝපණ කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන්. What is anthropomorphism? the attribution of human characteristics or behavior to a god, animal or object. Anthropomorphism is more specifically the attribution of human mental states or effects to non-humans. A character is anthropomorphic if they are not human but behave like a human. Anthropomorphism can occur in many kinds of stories, but it is especially common in folk tales, fairy tales, fantasies, and children's stories. So, what is zoomorphism? Sattvaropane kila kiyanne. Zoomorphism is a derivative of the Greek word zoon, which means animal, sattu, and morph, which means form or shape. It is a literary technique in which animal attributes are imposed upon non-animal objects, humans and events, and animal features are ascribed to humans, gods and other objects. Zoomorphism means assigning a person, event or a deity with animalistic characteristics. සත්තුන්ට මිනිස්සුන්ගේ ගති ස්වභාවයන් ආරෝපණය කිරීම. මිනිස්සුන්ට සත්තුන්ගේ ගති ස්වභාවයන් ආරෝපණය කිරීම. ඒක තමයි වැදගත් දෙයක් හැටියට ගත්තේ. So difference between anthropomorphism and zoomorphism, you can see. Anthropomorphism ascribing human qualities to other objects, animals and inhuman creatures in order to give an insight into their functions. Zoomorphism assigning a person, event or a deity with animalistic characteristics. Anthropomorphism involves the attribution of human characteristics and qualities to animals or deities. Zoomorphism giving animal qualities to humans. Example for anthropomorphism, the Animal Farm, Govipale Peraliya, George Orwell's novel, where pigs represent political figures and social classes to demonstrate the allegorical meaning of communism in Russia. Example for zoomorphism, the feet of bathtubs and tables were carved to look like lion's feet. සීගිරියේ සිංහ පාදය කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා. මේස පුටු ලොකු ගෙවල් වල අදලා තියෙනවා බඩු මුට්ටු වල. Why we anthropomorphize attributing human intent to non-human animals, spirits, robots or other entities? Real or imagined is one way that people make sense of the behaviors and events that they encounter. Humans are a social species with a brain that evolved to quickly process social information. The tendency to view non-humans in terms of human-like characteristics has been theorized to be a product of that evolution. Zoomorphic representations in religion. The appearance of the Holy Spirit like a dove in the New Testament. Mark the evangelist as a lion in later Christian iconography. In Hinduism, Vishnu's Vahana Garuda is depicted as an eagle or kite or with half kite and half human body. The Egyptian gods were often depicted as zoomorphic or as hybrid. The names of the two most prominent Hebrew Bible female prophets, Deborah and Huldah, were in the Babylonian Talmud interpreted in zoomorphic terms as was and vis. We were invited to incorporate or improve or develop soft skills in this country, especially for university students to new generation. From Hinduism, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, divinity. From Buddhism, four sublimes, Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha, compassion, loving kindness, equity, like that. From Christianity, love. From Islamism, brotherhood. In India, Sri Satya Sai Baba revealed 5 human values: truth, righteousness, love, peace and non-violence. He did this mission through mythologies, stories, songs, dramas, filmlets, songs, like that. So you can watch the photographs. Gods represented by various animal forms. Nandi, bull, the vehicle of Lord Shiva. Vishnu's avatars, fish, tortoise, boar, man, lion. Rainbow snake, Australian Aboriginal, Sipasky, alligator, aztec. They are here, Loki, Vividai, Parachikram. On words, cat woman, Balalek wage, Pusek wage, Kehania, Ant-man, Ungik wage, Spider-Man, Black Panther. The Beatles, Blackbird, Beatles kila, Nitya, Gaku, Vadaka, Mandalaya, Gayake. Blackbird singing in the dead of night, take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. Beatles, Blackbird. Angitano, Samara make a family here. For you have been my help. I will rejoice in the shadow of your wings. In this verse from the book of Pasam 63:7, God is represented as a bird. The God's wings are described as the comfort and shelter that God gives to His people. On movies, Chitrapatival, Kathandaraval, Navakathaval, in Harry Potter and the Order of Phoenix by J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, a handful of characters can shift into animals. In the excerpt seen above, Harry's godfather, Sirius, shifted into a dog to accompany him unnoticed to the train station. Sirius acts like a dog in specific ways, like running along the train and wagging his tail. Yet Mrs. Weasley is hurt that not all of his actions are dog-like and could give away his disguise. Ballekuge Hadawal. Ehema potak theena. Translation from Russia. Heart of Dog. Pote English pote Russian language can live. On literature. Aigo, Iago, sounds serve. You are one of those that will not serve God. If the devil beat you because we come to do you service and you think we are ruffians, you will have your daughter covered with the barbaric horse. You will have your nephew's name to you. You will have horses for cousins and genets for Germans. Othello by William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare's drama, if you can study, we can find so many examples on this subject. Animal and human forms. The cult of the snake is widespread and especially important in the Indian tradition. Snake, Naga, Nagadeepa, we have Nagadeepa. Naga tribal of Naga. We have a big reservoir, Mahaveli river, symbolize 5 5 faces of snake. Logo. The serpent is vital in the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament story of Adam and Eve. The cult of the monkey is important in India. We have Hanuman Kovil in Nuvarelia, Bandaravela, Badulu range, having its essence in the figure of Hanuman, half monkey and half human. Animal idioms. At a snail's pace, moving very slowly. Busy as a bee, extremely busy. Open a can of worms, create a whole new set of problems. Wild goose chase, chasing something that's very difficult or impossible to catch. The world is your oyster. You have many good opportunities in front of you. Watching like a hawk, watching something very, very closely. Hold your poses, slow down, stop. Zoomorphic designs. You can see chairs, utensils, various things in our world. Can you see? Finally, Volkswagen, Beetle, Hitler wants to make a car. It's like a Indian car. Anthropomorphism and zoomorphism in Sinhala literature. We have so many stories, storybooks, poetry, dramas, films, cartoons, Hinsare, Magulkana, Naridana, Jasalenchina, Animal Farm. We have Sinhala translation. Anthropomorphism and zoomorphism in music, guitar, veena, violin, tabla, zoomorphic art. These are the few examples. Anthropomorphism representations on cartoons. Mickey Mouse, no time to explain. Personification is a technique used mainly for imagery. It uses human qualities to describe something non-human. It's quite similar to anthropomorphism. The only difference is their purpose of usage. Personification is useful in animating a setting or in emphasizing the importance of some non-human entity. It gives life to elements of stories that can engage the reader further. So, few examples are there. I am going to wind up my speech presentation. So, humans, animals and spirits, reimagining anthropomorphism and zoomorphism in a changing world. We can do further research. We can inspire our new films, cartoons, short stories, dramas, novels, so many things. So we can enjoy what's the meaning of life? We are searching. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor, for your insightful and thought-provoking plenary address. Your respectives have a great understanding of our intangible cultural heritage in new and meaningful ways. Our next plenary speaker is Dr. Bina Gandhi, Diori, Deputy Director, Research at the South Cultural Center, Colombo. She is appreciated with the Department of Urchine Indian History, Culture and Archaeology at Vishwa Bharati University and India. Dr. Diori has received several distinguished fellowships, including the UK visiting and fellowships under the Nehru Trust for the Indian Collections at the Victoria and Albert Museums, at the Charles Wales India, a Trust Fellowship at the Museums of the Archaeology and Anthropology, at Cambridge and the Center of South Asia Study, the University of Cambridge. She has presented her research on numerous national and international conferences and has contributed to projects documenting the cultural heritage of indigenous communities in India. We are honored to have her with us today to deliver a plenary address of ICICH and youth engagement in South Asia. Dr. Diori, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction. A very good morning to all of you. And I'm really happy to see scholars from all the SAARC region. On the onset, I extend my heartfelt thanks to the organizers who jointly, archaeology with whom we are organizing this international conference on intangible cultural heritage. I think the slide is not coming on. Avenues for more research, as you said. So I chose the topic intangible cultural heritage and youth engagement in South Asia. So the theme of the conference, bridging the gap, from past to future. So what is this gap, and who is going to fill the gap? So, the International Day of Intangible Cultural Heritage is observed annually on 17 October to celebrate the rich heritage, South Asian heritage. So I think this is my favorite slide of all the slides, because here the UNESCO convention, the way it defines intangible cultural heritage in Article 2, it summarizes the whole meaning, because intangible cultural heritage has so many things. But here, if I have read it 20 times, and I feel like it actually has the essence. It means the practices, representations, expressions, knowledge, skills, as well as the instruments, objects, artifacts, and cultural spaces associated therewith that communities, groups, or even individuals choose as part of their cultural heritage. So when I was reading it, I was rereading it and trying to understand. And each time I was reading it, I felt that there is a new understanding to it. And this intangible cultural heritage transmitted from generation, it is again constantly recreated. How this process of recreation happens. And groups in response to their environment, because we act in a certain way, according to the environment. Their interaction with nature and their history, and it provides them with a sense of identity and continuity, thus promoting respect for cultural diversity and human creativity. And from all this thing, what I understood is that intangible cultural heritage is not a static relic, but it is dynamic living heritage that relies on intergenerational transmission for its viability. If it has to continue, it has to be transmitted. And who are the agents? The agents are the youth. This was a small video, but I don't think it will work. But anyway, I can just skip this. Wait. So in South Asian context, and in this talk, I would like to focus more on the critical intersection of intangible cultural heritage and the youth engagement in South Asia. South Asia, a region which is characterized by a very rich cultural heritage, and also we have the world's largest youth population, out of which 60% of South Asia's population is under 30 age of 30. Out of which only 15 to 20% actively participate in this traditional practices. And this is also important when we talk about intangible cultural heritage in South Asia. It is an ongoing dialogue with the present. As I said, it is not static. It is the living heritage. And then, as we all know, I think we all have these slides, it can be divided into 5 domains with oral traditions, expressions, and performing arts, social practices, knowledge and practices concerning nature and the universe, and the traditional craftsmanship. So, just to give an idea, in the UNESCO list, South Asia, total 30 elements are inscribed, ICICH, of which Afghanistan 4, Bangladesh 4, Bhutan 1, India 15, Maldives is none. I mean, even for I was very surprised to see Nepal has also not, I think it's in the process, but they have not inscribed yet any element. And that Pakistan has 3, Sri Lanka has 2, which is the Rukada Nautiya, sir, I feel that is the other tree, and the leading Dumbara and the Rukada, these are the 2 from Sri Lanka. I think one is in a process with people, something when I'm reading about them, something. So, what is the rationale for youth engagement? The safeguarding of ICH is about ensuring, it's very interesting what I found, that it's ensuring that young people can appropriate heritage, the young people, again engagement of young people, and they will not only kind of appropriate heritage, but they will also take pride in it and renew it. So, this long-term viability of intangible cultural heritage hinges on its successful transmission to the future generation. And in the region, when we talk about South Asia, with a world's largest youth, like young population, the rationale for engaging young people in this process is really urgent and it's important. And you see that in South Asia, most of the youth are not like passive recipients, but we need to involve them into future decision makers because they are innovators with the use of these AI tools and all. They can play a very important role as an innovators and essential agents of continuity. By actively engaging in cultural activities, these young people can contribute to the sustainability of their heritage, in the same time also trying to shape their own identity in this process to understand themselves. So it is also very important that ICICH, the intangible cultural heritage, to survive, it must blend with the lives of the youth. It's not something that is away from them, it's something which is a part of their life, and because they have the ability to introduce innovative solutions and unique perspectives which are very, very important for the continuity of ICICH and how it can be adapted, it can be useful in this modern world. So without their active participation, the very existence of these traditions are at risk, as they cannot last without the direct intervention and transmission of human beings. They need to take it for the posterity. So in this case, if we see this UNESCO's first South Asian regional support strategy, in this also they have, which builds on UNESCO's experience in the region and focuses on three main areas, that is advancing gender equality. The second is engaging meaningfully with youth, how meaningfully we can engage the youth, and mobilizing cultural diversity. So through this strategy, UNESCO aims to harness South Asia's immense human potential to drive sustainability and contributing to lasting peace. So I will take some case studies, in which we can see these success stories. So I think those who are from India and especially from eastern part of India, it's a very familiar sight for them. This particular dance, which is known as Chow dance, it was inscribed in UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage, and historically, over for 200 years, this particular dance form was exclusively done by the male members, because in this dance form they enact episodes from folklores, from epics, and this dance it needs lots of kind of martial arts, athletics, acrobatics. So it was mostly performed by the male members. Now it's very interesting that a UNESCO-supported project became a very powerful vehicle for social change by empowering a 22-year-old girl, Moshin Chaudhary, who became the first ever Chow dancer. So her example has also inspired other women, and this example illustrates how ICICH safeguarding can contribute to broader goals of social equality, which is also one of the kind of SDG, reducing inequalities. So the dance has been integrated, I think it has also been integrated into the university curriculum. So ensuring its academic, it has been recognized, and institutional support has been given to this kind of this dance form. So it's very interesting how this youth engagement, has brought up this social change. This is just one example I'm taking from India. There are many. So anyway. So another example is from Nepal. So the safeguarding of Jatra heritage. Jatra in India is also kind of, we do this Jatra. So it means like processions or march, people in huge number, they come out, they march. So in Nepal there are 7 well-known Jatras. So Gai Jatra is, okay, so Gai Jatra, it has a story about it, like since 18th century this has been celebrated, where the youth really take part. It's a story that where the kind of diseased member, the boys and girls, they use this mask of the cow, the guidance cow. So they wear the cow costumes and they walk on the streets. So this marching of the people also soothe the pain. It's like people have the pain of losing their family members, but it also kind of a sense of togetherness and sharing of the grief, So, just few examples, and what in the last few years have seen that the male-dominated Jatra has recently undergone a visible shift in gender roles, where you see more females are participating. So they are pulling the rath. There's a women also participate in that, and also this playing of instrument, which was mostly by men. Now you can see the girls also kind of, So this is a very inclusive approach for the conservation of heritage, where it's not only the boys but also the girls are coming forward. They are also equally participating. And also, this has increased women participation. And one step ahead, you can see that this is a blend of tradition and activism. Well, this Pride March, which was arranged by local NGOs there. So they also hosted the 22nd Nepal Pride March with the Gai Jatra celebration. So here also it shows kind of inclusiveness, how the society is undergoing changes, and how youth involvement, we are also making our society more inclusive. So voice for a more inclusive society. So it is not only kind of taking part in the tradition, but also making it more relevant to the modern world, to the needs of the modern world. So apart from that, revitalizing Nepal Bhasha, so also the language, it's a issue everywhere, not only in Nepal, where the young generations, they are kind of the use of the language with the kind of excessive use of English. So here also, there is an attempt in Nepal where they have, to revive the language. KMC has taken this kind of steps that language should be introduced into school. So kind of so the youths who are working for reviving, reviving an obsolete script. So this is also one example where the youth engagement is very much there to revive an obsolete script or a language. And this is one example from Pakistan, Lok Virsha Museum, where they regularly they conduct this courses on crafts. It can be on crafts, songs, calligraphy, folk art, folk singing. Especially, it's aimed to promote indigenous culture among the youth. So this kind of approach brings living heritage, in front of the youth. So so they learn the art, and also it's also a very good way of transmission, and also making them aware in a very accessible and engaging way. So this is one example from Pakistan. And from Bangladesh, I think Bangladesh has many community-based festivals, like youth festivals. So this is one, this was very recently done, where this was done with the University of Dhaka. It is also to raise an awareness of safeguarding intangible cultural heritage among the youth. So they are going to universities directly, kind of dealing with the university students, and also to make them realize that they have a very vital role to play as future leaders. This is another very important workshop which was conducted by UNESCO Dhaka and UNESCO ICICH, bringing about again 20 kind of young writers, and they are activists from indigenous, from indigenous background. So this event was also aimed to encourage the indigenous youth to explore creative writing, which is inspired by their own intangible cultural heritage. So, and this is another example. This is from Sri Lanka. This was in 2023, where UNESCO New Delhi Regional Office, in collaboration with the Ministry of Buddha Sasana, Religious and Cultural Affairs, they also have this 3-day national capacity building workshop for the safeguarding of intangible cultural heritage. So this was also very important because they have this their key concepts. It was explained to people what is identification means, what is safeguarding, and how this intangible cultural heritage, how it can be transmitted to posterity. And it's during this event, in its opening lecture, Ms. Junihan remarked, Sri Lanka showcases a rich array of living heritage. Much of its living heritage is also highly prone to risk of abandonment and is gradually disappearing over time, and therefore this safeguarding is very essential to ensure that the knowledge and skills are retained and transmitted across generations. So the youth plays a very important role, because it's through them the knowledge is going to go forward. And it's also important that efforts to protect and promote the living intangible cultural heritage without freezing them. So like changes, we need to be a little accommodating, with the change. Now, at the same time, these case studies which I have shown, they have highlighted the transformative potential of youth engagement, what they can do when youths are involved. In ICICH in South Asia, each initiative demonstrates that when young people are actively involved in cultural practices, they not only contribute to the safeguarding of their heritage, but they also foster innovation and creativity. The integration of modern technology and participatory approaches has proven effective in attracting youth and ensuring the relevance of ICICH in the modern society. Now, however, we also have issues where it's called paradox of youth engagement, where we see that the unique perspectives and the stories that comes from the youth regarding heritage are often less heard. And also in Sri Lanka, also in most of the South Asian cases, we see that they don't have much opportunity, like for internship in this cultural management sector. They don't have much opportunities. And also if they have opportunities, the return is not much, so they are not interested. And also the structural way, also when we see that, also I see it safeguarding in South Asia is often, it's like ill-equipped. And it is not enough to facilitate meaningful participation of the youth. So there is a scarcity of opportunities, as I said, and also very low rate of youth employment within the cultural heritage management sector. So the influence of globalization on the other hand, and also the allure of our urban lifestyles, so it has also in a way threatened the practices. Therefore, it is very imperative for the policymakers to create a supportive environment to encourage the youth participations in ICICH initiatives. Now, what can be, like suppose as simple as the art of storytelling. So it is not there anymore. I mean, as we also remember kind of how the stories used to pass, from like elders in the family to the younger in the family. But I mean, we can also experience it's not happening. It's mostly the screen time, that goes. So as simple an act of as simple as this art of storytelling is declining from South Asia. So it is replaced by modern gadgets. So what are the strategies if we have to safeguard this to foster youth involvement in ICICH practices or initiatives? Then we have to empower the youth through policy and education. There is a need for a very well-defined policy. Like from India, I have given the example of Chow dance, how it has been kind of brought into the university curriculum. And also from Pakistan, that museum, they also have this Children Folk Story Society. So where they encourage these indigenous folklores. So as I said, also to counter, I mean, how to do this, we have to have a multi-pronged approach where, as I said, strategy, policy, it has to be a well-defined policy to increase youth involvement. This can include, I think in India definitely, because I know there are many courses on heritage management courses, museology, something like that. So we have to have more kind of courses like that to increase youth involvement in the revitalization of ICICH. Also use of technology like VR, AR, in the museums also, kind of how we can employ these to attract the youth. And also the importance of community-led initiatives, like projects be community-based and led by the people. Like Bangladesh is a very good example because they have lots of community-led initiatives. So, so this is very important because the shift of the role of external organizations, it's not the external organizations who are being the, who are like taking over, but it's you, and you know what you have to project, what is important for you. It comes from that. Now, anyway, despite all this, we have to chart a roadmap, forward for this living heritage in South Asia. So the future of South Asia's rich intangible cultural heritage is intrinsically linked to the faith and fortunes of its youth. The evidence with some case studies that I have shown across the region demonstrates that when young people are empowered and when they are provided with the right resources, they are not only capable of preserving, but they also revitalize them in a very innovative way. And the case studies also show that these issues whatever little issues I mentioned, it can be overcome by targeted, integrated, and community-based strategies. By formalizing support through policies and education, ethically a use of technology, we can help to create new opportunities so that the young people, to empower them to become the architects of their own cultural future in South Asia. So the active and meaningful engagements of youth is not an optional anymore. It is a fundamental necessity to build a future, not just a bright future, but a sustainable future for them, where cultural identity becomes a source of pride, economic opportunity, and a foundation for it can be inter-community, interfaith. People from all the corners should come together for a dialogue and social cohesion. So I'm ending my slide with this picture of a truck art from Pakistan, which is also inscribed in the representative list of intangible cultural heritage. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Diori, for your insightful and timely plenary address. Both plenary talk this morning have greatly enriched our understanding of intangible cultural heritage and have opened new pathways for research and practice. With that, we have reached the conclusions of the plenary sessions. We will now break for the lunch, which will be served in the same hall where the refreshment were the provided area. The next technical sessions will begin at the 1 p.m. at the Vimal Dimensions. We kindly request all participation to be present in their respective session on time. On behalf of the organization committee, I wish you pleasures of a lunch break and a productive afternoon of the discussions. Thank you very much.